is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It is 5 o'clock here on your Friday. Good morning to you. I'm Lauren Casey. Here's what's making headlines on this April 17th. A woman and a teen are in critical condition after multiple overnight shootings in Indianapolis. What police are telling us about the investigations. Hoosiers have been feeling the effects of the coronavirus for a month now. The announcements from the president and Governor Holcomb about when Indiana can reopen. And celebrating birthdays during the pandemic restrictions can be hard. How one neighborhood stepped up to give a pair of twins a sweet 16 to remember. But first, we want to welcome you into Good Morning Indiana and get a check of your forecast with Todd Clausen working from home today. Todd, it is a day you'll want to grab maybe a warmer coat or a rain jacket. You need something before you head out there.
Yeah, you know, if you have to go out, definitely need the warm coat and the rain jacket. If you don't have to go out, today's just probably one of those days maybe where you want to stay inside because it's going to be chilly, it's going to be wet, and the wind will eventually start to kick up here as well as we work our way throughout the day. Here's a live look at Storm Team 6 radar. We've been dealing with rain and some snow throughout the course of the overnight hours. Some of the snow is falling in northern locations, but temperatures are still above freezing. So a lot of this is not reaching the ground and sticking. So that's the good news as of now. And even if you do get into some of the areas that will see a little more in the way of snow throughout the day today, which will be to the north, it's really not going to impact the roads if you do have to get out and about. It's mainly just going to fall on grassy areas. But the heaviest of the precipitation, that's still off to our west in Missouri. That's what's going to arrive probably mid-morning into early afternoon. That's when we get into the heaviest of the precip. You notice the temperatures, if you were with us last half hour, have cooled a bit in northern locations, now down to 35 in Peru, still at 39 in Indy and 42 in Bloomington. And from Indianapolis to Bloomington, this is purely going to be an all-rain event. Northern locations, you could see some minor snow accumulation. We'll talk more about that for you coming up, Lauren, here in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Let's take a look right now at your commute on this Friday. This is I-65 at 21st Street, a little north of the downtown area. Traffic is pretty quiet, as you can see. No delays to slow you down. Also, no crashes to report around the metro area at this early hour. Now to some news from overnight. A 17-year-old is hospitalized after a shooting on the city's west side. This happened around 11 o'clock last night in the 5900 block of Beachview Drive. Officers say the male teen was taken to the hospital with a gunshot wound to his lower abdomen. He's listed in critical but stable condition. Police are still trying to figure out what led up to this shooting. And another person in critical condition this morning after a shooting downtown. It happened around 10 last night on North Delaware Street near East Michigan Street. Officers say that a woman was found in a vehicle there suffering from gunshot wounds. Anyone with any information on either of these shootings is asked to call Crime Stoppers. At 5:03, President Trump has issued a new national guidance on how to reopen the country and our economy. A three-phase approach will be put in place to determine when COVID-19 cases are declining enough to loosen the social distancing restrictions. In a document sent to state leaders, the White House says states should have the ability to quickly set up safe and efficient screening and testing sites. But the president says ultimately the decision to lift those stay-at-home orders is up to the governors.
Governors will be empowered to tailor an approach that meets the diverse circumstances of their own states. Every state is very different. They're all beautiful. We love them all, but they're very, very different. If they need to remain closed, we will allow them to do that. And if they believe it is time to reopen, we will provide them the freedom and guidance to accomplish that task, and very, very quickly, depending on what they want to do.
Indiana state leaders are working with neighboring Midwest states to determine the best time to reopen our economy. Our Alyssa Donovan is joining us live from the State House this morning with all of those details. Alyssa, good morning.
Yes, Governor Holcomb is working with neighboring Midwest governors to work on when is going to be the best time to reopen here in Indiana. He says once that is determined, it is going to be a gradual process in reopening the state's economy. We do know that Holcomb has signed on with several Midwest governors that they're going to make sure one another are informed about the actions that are being taken when it comes to the economy. When asked about a possible reopening on the economy here in Indiana during Thursday's briefing, Governor Holcomb did not give a specific date. However, he said it could happen as soon as early May. The governor is reaching out to leaders in many different industries across the state before making a final decision.
I sent out a letter requesting input from a lot of our major associations representing our retailers, our manufacturers, our medical device association, construction industry, tourism, realtors, sports and cultural events, large gatherings.
And Holcomb says he's asking for recommendations and suggestions on modifications or changes those industries and workplaces may make to increase safety. Leaders in those industries need to get their suggestions to the governor by next Wednesday. That will help the state as officials prepare to eventually ease those restrictions. And earlier this week, the governor said he is reviewing that stay-at-home order right now. That is set to expire on April 20th. And we're expecting to hear more about that today. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. It is 5:06. The Indiana State Department of Health reports more than 9,000 Hoosiers have now tested positive for COVID-19. More than 3,000 of those cases are here in Marion County. 611 new cases and 41 deaths were confirmed yesterday. 477 Hoosiers have died from this disease. Boone County Health Department says 12 deaths at a Lebanon assisted living facility were caused by COVID-19. Homewood Health Campus reportedly requested a team to help with the outbreak when the first death happened about 2 weeks ago. Since then, 11 more have died at this facility. The health department says all of the residents were elderly and had pre-existing health conditions. Another Boone County retirement community, Hoosier Village, has also reported a death at its location. There's help for those suffering domestic violence during this pandemic. That's the message the state and community groups want people to know. We told you about the rise in domestic reports and calls because people are stuck inside with nowhere to go. The state is reminding people you can text 911 here in Indiana if you aren't able to talk or don't want your abuser to hear you making a call. The Julian Center is hoping more attention is brought to domestic violence so people can feel safe in their homes even when we're experiencing a pandemic.
We have to continue this conversation well after COVID so that we can put these things in place and we have them and we rely on them and we use them on a random Tuesday, right? Rather than have to wait until we have to use them.
The Julian Center is still serving those in need during the coronavirus pandemic. We have their contact information in this story on our website in the RTV6 app. Butler University announced it will still hold a formal commencement ceremony for this year's graduates in December. The university says it will happen December 18th at Hinkle Fieldhouse. It will include those who are graduating in May, August, and December. The spring commencement was originally scheduled for May 9th, but canceled due to the coronavirus outbreak. School officials say despite the cancellation, students voted to have a traditional ceremony in December. Community members are also working together to make sure that those with birthdays during this pandemic are celebrated. Residents in Shelbyville helped to make this 16 extra sweet for these twin girls with a parade. Like many people with birthdays during the pandemic, Brooke and Taylor Dennis were not able to mark the milestone with a big party, but the celebration may turn out to be more memorable. Friends, family, even strangers drove by their home honking and waving to them to wish these girls a happy birthday. The teens say they are grateful.
We get to see our family on our birthday, which is good because that's what we normally do. We'll go over to our grandmother's house and have just like a little party usually. So it's kind of the same thing except with cars. New normal going on right now. I think it's really cool that people are doing stuff like this and still like saying happy birthday to people and having parties and graduations and stuff.
The Shelbyville Fire Department even joined in on the fun, sending a fire truck past the family's house to send the teens those birthday wishes. And we want to wish you guys a happy birthday from all of us here at RTV6. We also want to hear more stories of working together during this difficult time. So please share the positive efforts going on in your community by emailing us at workingforyou@rtv6.com. All right, it's time for a check of our forecast. Todd Clausen is standing by. Hey, Todd.
Hey, good morning, Lauren. We're talking, unfortunately, about some snow in the forecast here in the middle of April. Normally, if I was talking about advisories or warnings or watches this time of year, typically it would be with severe weather. Not the case here today, as we are talking about a winter weather advisory that's in place across parts of the area. The rain chances and snow for some of you. That's why it says precipitation chances at the top of your screen on the banner. It's the heaviest and most steadiest through the early afternoon. afternoon, and then we'll see those rainfall totals and snowfall totals start to drop off. There's the snow moving in. There's a lot more rain now off to our west. The winter weather advisory is posted across the northern portion of the state, as temperatures today will eventually climb only into the low 40s to the north, low 50s to the south. Any snow that does fall, which could be maybe up to 1 to 2 inches in those northern locations, that'll melt away pretty quickly as those temperatures start to climb. We'll dive more into snowfall totals for you coming up in Maine weather in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. Officer Brianne Leith, who was killed in the line of duty, has now been laid to rest. Coming up, how the community and her fellow officers are honoring her life of service. And new data research shows that the U.S. is making progress against the coronavirus. Still ahead, the states that could be less impacted by this disease. Stick around.
20 tonight at 9, 8 Central on ABC.
Brianne accomplished and gave more in her 24 years than most could ever hope to in a lifetime.
State leaders, family, and community members remembering the life and legacy of IMPD officer Brianne Leith. Her fellow officers filling the track at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for her funeral service. This was the first time an IMPD officer funeral was held at the Speedway, and it was used to ensure social distancing guidelines. Dozens saluted Officer Leith one by one as the coach passed by. They also laid the carnation on the trailer carrying her picture. Officers and family members spoke of her kindness and dedication to serving her community. Dozens saluted Officer Leith one by one, as you can see there. We'll continue to keep you updated, but now we want to hear from Richard Riddle.
Bree gave her life so that all of ours might be better. She chose this career, this life, out of a desire to lift up those in need. Her smile, beauty, and happy demeanor lit up the room, and she always looked so at ease and peace with the world. But inside, she hid from other people's views how hard she had to work as a single mom to balance a full-time job on middle shift while raising a son with dreams of watching him grow up and become a man.
After her end-of-watch call, a large police procession took her to her final resting place that is at Crown Hill Cemetery. Over the last week, since she was killed in the line of duty, we've shared with you several stories about Officer Leith's compassion and kindness. During this time, one family is thanking her once again for her help during the holidays. Shannon Lee and her family met Officer Leith 2 days before Christmas back in 2018. She came with another officer to give them presents to put under their tree. Lee says that she remembers sitting next to Leith and thinking how down to earth she was.
When we took the picture, she looked at him and my daughter and was like, "Can I pick you up?" And my baby was like, "Yeah." And then she just grabbed her and just put her on her hip, and she was sitting there talking to her for a little minute, and then we sat down and took a picture.
Lee says before the officers left, Leith handed her a Christmas card with $40 inside. She says after that interaction, she knew Officer Leith was an amazing person, and she truly was. In her memory, the Indiana Women's Prison renamed its nursery after Officer Brianne Leith. Leith was a former correctional officer at the women's prison. The facility says the gesture is in recognition of her services and sacrifices. The time right now is 5:16. We got to get a check of our Friday forecast. Todd, today is kind of the downer in our forecast, you could say.
You know, all this week the weather has not been great. It's been chilly. Yesterday, I guess, wasn't too bad as we had the sunshine at least, even though temperatures were still in the 40s. But it's better than what we're dealing with today because that is rain and that is snow as well. And here are your weather headlines. There's snow to the north. We're looking at about potentially 1 to maybe 3 inches in far northern locations. Most of that accumulation will be on grassy areas. The roadways, I think, should be fine if you do have to venture out. And then for most of us, this is going to be a rain event, but it's going to be fairly significant as we could see over a ½ inch of rain across parts of the area. We just went through the first half, or the first initial rain and snow band that came through. I know I woke up at one point throughout the early morning hours here and heard the rain hitting my window. To the north, you can see where that snow is making its way into the area as the temperatures are starting to cool. But the bulk of the precipitation, that is still off to our west. As you notice, the heaviest of that rain and snow is stretching from central Illinois now back through central Missouri. That arrives by mid-morning, and it's really mid-morning into the early afternoon hours that we deal with the heaviest of this precipitation that'll be making its way into the area. As you look at snowfall totals, I think the heavier snow bands are probably shifting a little further to the north compared to where they were yesterday. But we're still talking about some minor accumulation from Lafayette to Kokomo to Marion over towards the Portland area. And then as you work your way to Monticello and Peru, you get into that 1 to 2 inch range. I know I said 1 to 3 earlier. Those 3-inch totals are probably pretty far north and potentially outside of our viewing area. So as we work our way throughout the course of the day today, temperatures will continue to fall a little bit in northern locations. And then as we work our way throughout the day, we eventually get back up into the mid to upper 40s. So any snow that does fall, that is going to melt away pretty quickly. So it's really, even though we're talking about snow, kind of a non-event because it's happening early this morning and it'll be gone by this afternoon. And of course, not many people have to commute. So it's not a huge deal for us, and the roads should be fine as well. Tomorrow's a much better day. We're looking at temperatures up into the mid 50s across the area with sunshine. And then as we work our way into the day on Sunday, we are talking about temperatures that'll be eventually getting up into portions of the 60s. So I'm not sure why we're going backwards there on the computer, but anyway, I'll show you your 7-day coming up in just a bit. But Lauren, it definitely trends in a better direction as we work our way into the middle half of next week.
All right, we are looking forward to it, Todd. Thank you so much. Here is a look right now at your commute as you're heading out the door on this Friday. This is a look at I-70 and Rural Street, Keystone Avenue. You can see the westbound lanes moving into the downtown area. Those are traveling up to speed, not too busy. Eastbound lanes are closed, obviously, for that NDOT construction project. So keep that in mind as you're traveling out and about today and over the weekend. You'll not be able to use I-70 between the North Split and I-465 in the eastbound direction. Westbound will be closing on April 23rd. So keep that in mind. I want to take you down to the south side right now, just south of downtown. This is I-65 at Keystone Avenue. This is another spot with ongoing construction. You can see it's in the middle area of the interstate, blocking lanes on both northbound and southbound I-65. Right now, it's not causing any delays, but don't forget to slow your speed as you approach this area. Researchers at the University of Washington are updating their coronavirus pandemic model. The model, often touted by the Trump administration, may show whether the U.S. is making progress against the virus. In the meantime, parts of the country are preparing to start moving forward. John Lawrence reports.
The COVID-19 pandemic still has a grip on the United States.
Places like New York seem to be stuck at the peak for longer than we originally expected.
But there are positive signs.
Looks like a number of states in the South, for example, will have smaller epidemics than we were expecting.
There are more than 671,000 confirmed cases in the U.S., according to Johns Hopkins University. But millions of Americans are affected by COVID-19 financially, while social distancing and stay-at-home orders are in place.
The bills don't stop between now and then, and the money is rapidly running out.
22 million Americans have filed for unemployment over the last 4 weeks, and some are treading water with their rainy day savings.
I would say by the end of April, maybe first 2 weeks of May, that'll be gone.
The White House, in a tweet, is calling on Congress to pass increased funding for the Paycheck Protection Program, saying a simple one-page bill will get the job done. No liberal pet projects. Democrats say Republicans are preventing progress on the PPP, with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi tweeting, "Serious flaws are keeping far too many small businesses from receiving the resources they need." I'm John Lawrence reporting.
At 5:21, Amazon says it's developing its own COVID-19 testing for employees. CEO Jeff Bezos announced that he put together a team of workers to come up with tools for the testing. He says the company will start testing small numbers of employees soon. Amazon has faced criticism that the company's not doing enough to protect workers during this pandemic. Bezos says they've already made significant process changes, including temperature checks and offering more protective equipment. Another NFL player has contracted the coronavirus. Denver Broncos revealed that Von Miller has tested positive for COVID-19. Miller is currently in self-isolation at home. The Broncos say that he's in the care of team doctors and is doing well. The 31-year-old star linebacker for the team is set to enter his 10th NFL season. He's the second active NFL player to report testing positive for the coronavirus. The first player was Los Angeles Rams center Brian Allen. Well, the transition for churches conducting online services can include a few bumps in the road. After the break, how one pastor's technical issues resulted in a funny viral video. It's 5:22. We'll be right back. Welcome back. A pastor in Missouri is hoping his upcoming virtual services will go better than last week's, which featured some funny technical difficulties. Take a look. Pastor Scott Mowry gained internet fame after his Facebook filters took over his online devotional. For a full 2.5 minutes, he delivered his daily devotional with an assortment of wizard hats and cat ears. He says he didn't even know what was going on until his wife wrote a comment in the Facebook Live. This video has since gone viral, and Mowry says he is happy if it helps spread the message. That's pretty funny. All right, Todd, we got to talk about what is going on in our Friday forecast. Not the best day, but we are looking forward to a better weekend.
Yeah, I promised I'd show you the 7-day planning forecast, and here it is, Lauren, and you're exactly right. You look at Friday, and that's kind of the black sheep in the forecast here with rain and snow and wind and temperatures that are going to be getting up to right around 49 degrees. Tomorrow's much better, 56 degrees with mostly sunny skies, 60 degrees with a few spotty showers on Sunday, but nothing major. And then as we work our way into the middle of next week, temperatures will be back up into the low to mid 60s, and with the warmer temperatures will come those spring showers on Wednesday and Thursday. But at this point, none of the shower chances once we get beyond today look to be that widespread or that heavy.
With more people concerned about their health due to COVID-19, it's one way one restaurant is delivering food. I'm Rafael Sanchez. That's story at 6 a.m. when I join Todd and Lauren for Good Morning.
Home experts at theindychannel.com. This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 5:30, an overnight shooting near the heart of the city leaves a woman fighting for her life.
We need everybody's help. We have to work together on this.
Now at 5:30, why Metro Police say they can't figure out what happened without your help. And when could the Hoosier State be back open for business? We're working for you and breaking down the governor's plan to get Hoosiers back on the job. But first, here at 5:30, I want to welcome you into Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey. Todd Clausen is reporting from home this morning on our forecast, and it's not the best day. We're talking some snow flurries happening to our north, Todd.
Yeah, you know, Lauren, anytime you're talking about snow in the middle of April, it's usually not a good day. And if you're not seeing the snow today, you're going to have wet and windy conditions and chilly temperatures. So, yeah, today is a Friday that hopefully we don't have to repeat anytime in the near future. We can kind of get it out of the way today. And we do have better days ahead. You see the rain showers on Storm Team 6 radar right now. To the north, we're mixing with some snow now in Monticello. Over towards the Kokomo and Peru area, a little bit of snow. This is the first wave of precipitation coming in. The heaviest of the precipitation, whether it be rain or snow, is still off to our west, and that is going to arrive by mid-morning. Temperatures in the process of cooling off. They are down to 35 now in Tipton as well as Peru. 40 still to the south. If you live from Indianapolis southward, you do not have to worry about any snow. This is purely just a rain event, but the wind kicks up as the day goes on, and that rain becomes pretty steady, at least through the early afternoon hours. We'll dive into the timeline for you using TrueCast in more detail, Lauren, coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thanks so much for keeping a close eye on traffic as you're heading out the door this Friday morning. Again, we have wet roads out there, so be cautious. Here's a look at some ongoing construction we have south of downtown on I-65. This is near Keystone Avenue, where we have a few lanes blocked off in the middle of the interstate, so you'll want to reduce your speed if you're heading southbound on I-65. Once you round the curve past Raymond Street, bring your speed down, and then if you're heading northbound on I-65 after the I-465 ramps, start slowing down. Watch for crews working throughout the day. New from overnight, a 17-year-old is recovering after being shot at an apartment complex over on the city's west side. This happened around 11 o'clock last night in the 5900 block of Beachview Drive near 10th Street. Officers say they found the male victim in critical condition when they arrived. Right now, it's unclear if the shooting happened inside the apartment or in the courtyard. Officers tell us the victim was transported to the hospital with a gunshot wound to his lower abdomen. He's now listed as stable. This incident is under investigation. Also working Working overnight, a woman was shot downtown. This happened around 10:15 near North Delaware and Michigan streets. Officers at the scene there tell us the woman was found in a vehicle with gunshot wounds. She was then transported to the hospital where she remains in critical condition. We're told the shooting happened in a residential area, so police are asking anyone with any information to please come forward.
You know, this is one of your neighbors. This is people that live here, so please, we ask that you come forward. Without the community's help, we're not going to be able to solve crimes. We're not going to be able to solve things. We need everybody's help. We have to work together on this.
As always, if you have any information that could help about either shooting, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers. That number is 317-262-TIPS. There you can leave information anonymously. I want to turn now to the latest on the COVID-19 outbreak in the state of Indiana. The State Department of Health is reporting more than 600 new cases of the virus. The latest numbers show more than 9,500 Hoosiers have tested positive for the coronavirus so far. More than 51,000 people have been tested. So far, 477 people have died from this virus. We want to take a look now at how well the state's hospitals are prepared for a surge in cases. According to the Department of Health, nearly 45% of the intensive care unit beds in Indiana are still available. About 76% of those states' ventilators are available as of today. Want to look at global numbers right now. Well over 2 million positive cases have been reported worldwide. Nearly 650,000 of those are here in the United States. More than 140,000 deaths are now blamed on COVID-19 globally. About 31,000 of those are in the United States. But we always want to leave you with a little bit of positive news. So we can tell you that nearly 55,000 Americans have recovered from the coronavirus. At 5:34, businesses in our state are going on a month of closure now, and many are wondering when they'll be able to reopen. Our Alyssa Donovan is joining us live this morning from outside of the State House, and she has the very latest. Alyssa, good morning.
Good morning, Lauren. So right now the governor is not giving a specific date on when he plans to reopen the economy here in Indiana, but he is saying that early May is what he is aiming for. And the governor was addressing this as one of the main concerns during his press conference on Thursday. Right now, he says that Indiana is working in partnership with neighboring states like Ohio, Kentucky, Illinois, and Michigan to determine when to make that decision and keep informed, deciding that best plan of action to reopen. He says they're going to continue to base this decision on the data, stressing that the next few days are very important in making that determination.
You see this, if the trends continue and we continue to make progress, we're all thinking about that smart restart opening of our states in a very gradual, methodical way if the numbers continue to hold and the trends continue to hold.
And Indiana U.S. Senator Mike Braun has been appointed to the White House Reopening the Economy Committee. Senator Holcomb says he'll be discussing with him how to best move forward here in Indiana. The governor of Ohio has announced that they will be reopening the economy in our neighboring state on May 1st. However, Governor Holcomb says he's just not comfortable giving a specific date just yet. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. It is 5:36. Nationally, President Trump has laid out his own three-phase plan to reopen the U.S. economy. During Thursday's task force briefing, the president backtracked on earlier comments, now saying it would be up to governors to decide how to restart the economies in their own states. ABC's Alex Perche is in Washington with more.
President Trump laying out his blueprint to reopen the country.
America wants to be open, and Americans want to be open.
His guidelines call for a phased approach, though he says it'll be up to governors to decide when to lift restrictions. States would enter phase 1 after they see a 2-week decline in the number of people with COVID symptoms and in the percentage of people testing positive for the virus. And once a state can check those boxes, people would still be advised to maintain social distancing and avoid socializing in groups of more than 10, but businesses could look at ways to slowly return to work. If states are able to go 2 weeks without a rebound of COVID cases, they can move to phase 2, where you could see some places like restaurants, movie theaters, and bars reopen with social distancing protocols. The president, hopeful parts of the country could reopen by month's end.
I think 29 states are in that ball game.
Ohio's governor believes his state can be one of them.
And I'm an optimist. We can do this.
Ohio, part of a new coalition of 7 Midwestern states working together on a plan to reopen. 7 states on the East Coast and 3 states on the West Coast forging similar alliances. Though some, like New York, have already extended their shutdowns until at least May 15th. Governors and health officials alike agree the key to the future is testing and tracking the contacts of people who are infected to prevent further spread. Dr. Deborah Birx on CNN.
There is no disease where we test 140 million workers on a weekly basis. CDC already has about 500 plus people on the ground in many of the states.
The big fear, a potential second spike in some states.
I mean, let's face it, this is uncharted water. There may be some setbacks that we may have to pull back a little and then go forward.
And while testing is key, tracking the spread is just as important. In Salt Lake City, the health department there says it has successfully tracked 85% of the cases in that community. The state of Massachusetts also has an ambitious tracing program in the works. Alex Perchet, ABC News, Washington.
As the country waits to get the economy restarted, the toll on American families is growing. The latest unemployment numbers show another 5.2 million Americans are out of work. Over the past month, 22 million people filed for unemployment. And early yesterday morning, the Small Business Administration shut down the Paycheck Protection Program because it ran out of money. The program loaned out $311 billion, processing 14 years worth of loans in less than 14 days. The White House is now asking Congress for another $250 billion for this program, but the head of the Small Business Administration says that more than that will be needed. RTV6 is working for you to keep track of everything you need to know about how the coronavirus pandemic is affecting Hoosiers and also the nation. You can find everything you need to know right on our website, theindychannel.com/coronavirus. That includes information and resources from the Health Department, the Department of Workforce Development, and much more. The time right now is 5:39. Let's check in with Todd and see what our Friday forecast looks like. Hey, Todd.
Yeah, Lauren, we're dealing with rain and snow, so I'm going to jump right into the snow aspect of this for you because I know that's kind of what grabs the attention of everybody when you're talking about snow, not only here in April, but obviously anytime throughout the year. The snow is only for northern locations, and the snowfall totals have come down as the temperatures have remained above freezing, so that's good news. We're only looking at about maybe a half an inch of snow from Lafayette over towards the Peru area. Once you get to Monticello, Logansport, could be about 1 to 2 inches of snow. Everybody else, though, where you see those zeros, it's not that you're not going to deal with any precipitation, though. You're just not going to see the snow. There is a lot of rainfall that is heading our way across most of the area. The wind is going to kick up as well, so it's going to be a pretty wet day for most of us. We'll detail the timeline for you and also look ahead to your weekend coming up in Maine weather in just a few minutes. Lauren.
Todd, thank you. The Circle City is saying farewell to IMPD officer Brianne Leith. Just ahead this morning, we're going to show you how her legacy will never be forgotten. We'll be right back.
New Pixent.
IMPD Patrolman Brianne Leith Baker 231 was shot and killed in the line of duty for responding to domestic disturbance located at 1803 Edinburgh Square in Indianapolis. Baker 231 selflessly answered the ultimate call of sacrifice, serving the city of Indianapolis and its citizens. Baker 231 Officer Brianne Leith and her family will always be remembered in our prayers. Baker 231 Patrolman Leith is now 1042 for the last time. May she rest in peace.
Well, that was the end of watch call for 24-year-old IMPD officer Brianne Leith, who was laid to rest yesterday. Officer Leith was shot and killed last Thursday while responding to a domestic disturbance call. Yesterday, the city came together to say its final farewell to Officer Leith. Because of social distancing requirements during the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, the service was held at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, followed by a small funeral at Crown Hill Cemetery. Thousands of people, though, watched a live feed of the services with dozens of her brothers and sisters and law enforcement surrounding her on this iconic racetrack. It was a funeral unlike any the city has seen, but those who knew Brianne say that the day matched how unique she was herself. Officer Leith's kindness touched lives in ways she never even knew. People close to her say that her love for her son and for her city pushed her to be an amazing officer. Yesterday, we caught up with one mourner who lined up early to pay his respects at the Speedway. He told us his niece worked with Officer Leith and that he has heard nothing but nice things about her, and so he wanted to share this message.
Everybody
should respect law enforcement. They put their lives on the line every day for us, and I don't think a lot of people appreciate what they go through and what they do. And I would just say, you know, every time you see a law enforcement officer, buy them some coffee or just tell them thank you.
We found countless people in the community sharing stories about how willing Officer Leith was to give back and make things better for everyone. And you can find several of those stories right now at theindychannel.com. And a donation fund is set up to assist with Officer Leith's family with these funeral and burial arrangements, and also to provide a trust for her young son. The Central Indiana Police Foundation is handling the fundraiser. IMPD is asking people to make sure you're careful when you're making donations. The department says it is aware of some fundraisers that have been set up without the consent of the Leith family. You can find the link to the Police Foundation Fund. It's on our website, theindychannel.com. Just an incredible tribute to an incredible woman yesterday. The funeral was beyond emotional and amazing, and so she will never be forgotten. The time, though, right now is 5:46. Let's check in with Todd. He's at home talking about today's forecast. And Todd, we have rain and snow right now.
Do you really want to talk about it, Lauren?
No. Let's skip it and go to the weekend.
Right? Let's just kind of skip Friday and jump into the weekend because that's when things start to improve, especially temperature-wise. But we do have to talk about today. And there is a winter weather advisory, believe it or not, across northern portions of the state. This came out yesterday, so we warned you about it and the potential for some snow. But once you get south of that advisory, though, it's all rain. And for most of us here watching RTV6 this morning, this is mainly going to be just a rain event for us. Storm Team 6 radar right now shows most of the precipitation has pushed to the north. It's in the form of rain and snow across the area. And this is just the first wave of precipitation, whether you're seeing rain or snow, that's coming into the area. There's a lot more that's still going to come through during the course of the day today, but kind of toggling back and forth between snow and rain in the Peru area over towards Lafayette, Monticello, seeing mainly all snow at this hour. And this will continue to lift to the north. So the metro area and points to the south getting a little bit of a break here over the next hour or so. But the heaviest of the precipitation is still off to our west, moving now into central Illinois. And that arrives by about mid-morning and continues into mid-afternoon. So that's the wettest stretch of our day that we are going to see across the area. And so it's going to be wet. It's going to be fairly windy across the area as well as this precipitation starts to move in. And you see there as that band move through. And at noon, it's still on the eastern side of the state. To the north, it is going to be some snow, and then some showers will linger all the way into the afternoon and evening hours as well. As far as snowfall potential, I'm only showing you certain communities here because this is where the snow is going to fall. Once you get south of Tipton and Frankfort, we're probably not looking at anything in the way of snowfall accumulation. And even in those northern locations, it's basically a trace to maybe 2 inches at this point, as we're not going to see a lot. And the bulk of that accumulation is going to be on grassy areas. 30s and 40s, so it's obviously colder to the north where you're going to be dealing with snow. As far as the metro area temperatures today, going all the way into the mid to upper 40s for your afternoon highs. And as we work our way into the weekend, the good news is we will start to bring in warmer temperatures. Tomorrow, 56, so it's only about 6-7 degrees warmer, but the sunshine, Lauren, is going to make all the difference in the world tomorrow. And then we're up into the 60s for most of next week. The exception is going to be Monday at 58 degrees, but that's a dry and sunny day as well. So let's just get through today, and then better weather is heading our way.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. It is 5:49. Let's get a check of your commute as you're heading out to work this Friday. Here's I-465 near Pendleton Pike on the northeast side. Traffic's moving along just fine northbound and southbound, picking up a little bit as you can see here. Again, we have wet roads out there, so use caution for your morning commute. American Express and United Airlines are taking donations in the form of rewards points. Both have launched similar programs to help with the coronavirus relief efforts. Amex is matching the points donated, giving up to $1 million to Feeding America. United is giving a mile for every mile that customers give. It will go to groups traveling for relief efforts. The airline will match up to 500,000 miles. You may feel like it's tough to lift your spirits right now, but nutritionists say that a change can start with your diet. Certain foods can help boost your body's production of hormones that make you happy. Nutritionists say greens like spinach, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts improve your serotonin levels. levels, while whole grains like oats, brown rice, and whole wheat bread keep us energized and our brain feeling healthy. Vitamin D has been associated with improving bad moods, but since we may not be seeing a lot of sunshine right now, egg yolks, fish, and milk can be a good alternative. The Central Indiana Bank is serving up delicious eats rather than cold, hard cash just after the break, where they're already open and ready for your business. Stick around, we'll be right back.
TV.com.
Welcome back. RTV6 is showcasing local businesses that are still open and serving you during this COVID-19 pandemic. While the initiative is called We're Open Indy, our effort extends far beyond this city. RTV6's Braun visited a Pendleton restaurant with a historic setting.
Right in the middle of downtown Pendleton, the bank is open. Not quite bankers' hours, but Tuesday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and the locals are turning up for takeout.
You know, it's not just customers. We don't have customers, we have new friends. This is a tough industry. It's hard every day, but the fact that the regulars come in and they don't just go to us, they go to some other places as well, and that's great. But the fact that they're still trying to help us means so much to us.
Gary Brammer and his wife Robin have run the bank restaurant since opening it in 2002. The bank used to be a bank. Built in 1910, the building itself is a treasure. Over the century since it opened, it's also been a restaurant previously, and now a place for families and familiar friends to gather for some great food and drinks.
Here at the bank restaurant, it's not just come in, eat, get up and go. The normal customers come in and they'll talk to 2 or 3, 4 booths on their way in, and they'll talk to the other 5, 6 booths on their way out. And that's what's cool. And the fact that they're still trying to help us is tremendous.
But as the bank sits empty, the kitchen stays busy. Orders coming in from Pendleton and the towns around, communities supporting one another again when it's needed so much.
People say, hey, we want you to make it. We want to help you get through this, and they want us to succeed. So that's great too. I mean, they're doing what they can, but at the same time, they can't always eat out. If you look at the street's empty, but the community is helping out everybody in town.
Gary says he's really missing having his patio open at the bank restaurant as spring begins. He's also disappointed he won't be able to have high schoolers through during prom season, but they are planning quite the reopening for the regulars once the time comes. And a shout out to a couple of other businesses that are open in Pendleton. Catello's is just a few doors down from the bank, offering family-style Italian dinners and more. They're open 7 days a week. And Jimmy's Dairy Bar has been open since 1954. The walk-up window and drive-thru are still serving all their old-time ice cream treats, hot dogs, and snacks too near Pendleton Heights High School. Working for you, Brad Brown, RTV6.
All right, Todd, I know you probably didn't see all the video there of the food, but I am hungry now. Unfortunately, today won't be the best day to maybe go out in the backyard and grill, right?
No, not at all. You know, the rain will probably be done this evening, but it's going to be chilly. And you're right, I didn't see that, but Brad, he does such a good job describing everything that you're going to see. I could kind of taste it and smell it here in my basement. So definitely getting hungry this morning. Take a look at the satellite radar picture and the temperatures all in one. One thing I'll note is the temperatures have been coming down a little bit here across the area in northern locations. So it's not out of the question some of this snow could start to stick on the grassy areas up in the Logansport area where it's 34. From Indianapolis to the south, this is going to be an all rain event throughout the day, but the wind that does kick up for everybody. What snow does fall to the north will melt away as temperatures eventually climb up into the low to mid 40s later on this afternoon. We'll share the 7-day planning forecast with you coming up in the next half hour here of Good Morning Indiana.
With more people concerned about their health due to COVID-19, it's the new way that food is being delivered. I'm Rafael Sanchez. That story next on RTV6.